Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I am Dr. Laura Jaggett, and you are listening to the How to Life podcast. This is actually episode 27 of the How to Life podcast, and today we are going to talk about reimagining your life. How do you do that? Well, it's fun, actually. You get to daydream and imagine and visualize. Wait, you may say, isn't that frivolous or lazy or irresponsible or this or that or whatever? No, it absolutely is not. Dreaming and visualizing is actually how you begin to create your future reality. It's the planting of the seed. As Henry David Thoreau so eloquently described it, go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. This happens to be the motto of today's guest, Julie Delucca Collins. She is a self-proclaimed dreamer, and she is proud of it. Oh, and she's also a CEO and a podcast host and a coach. You're going to love her. She is fun and she's funny and she's just really cool. She's accomplished a lot in her life, and she'll tell you that it all started with a dream. Hello, Julie. Thank you so much for joining me today on the How to Life podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I am thrilled to be here. It's such an honor.
Please introduce yourself to everyone and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Julie Delucca Collins, and I am a dreamer, first of all. That's the first thing that I'd like to tell people nowadays, because I think that we live in a society where, especially now with everything going on, we're not thinking about the possibilities. We're stuck in the mud. And that's one of the things that I want to change. Number two, I started my career as a teacher, a kindergarten preschool teacher, and then I evolved to a corporate executive in the education field, and I did a lot of really fun stuff with that. And I gained a lot of experience as a mentor, as a coach, and as an innovator. And lately, I have really sort of pivoted, as many people, and decided to really go after my dreams and do the things that I love, which is helping women. And of course, some men, because I do work with some men, but mostly helping women. I think of it as the women who tend to ask me, how did you get to where you are? How did you achieve? How did you XYZ? I'm the person that helps you come up with ways in which you can achieve your dreams, or maybe even figure out what you're dreaming about.
So you're a coach.
I am a coach.
Now your company, your website is called Go Confidently Coaching, correct?
Yes. When I started the coaching, and I started coaching a couple of years ago, not full time, then I got my certification, and I've been really delving into it because I know how much it's helped me personally in my life. I realized that I needed to name it after my favorite quote, which is Henry David Thoreau, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you have imagined. Because today, I am living the life that I imagined 20 years ago.
I love the way you started the podcast by saying that you are a dreamer. Oftentimes, saying you're a dreamer, or when someone says, oh, you're just a dreamer, it has a negative connotation. So I want to talk about visualization and imagining and dreaming and how you do that, because I know that people think that daydreaming is lazy or it's wishful thinking, but really, that is the beginning of creating your reality.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on being a dreamer?
So I, too, had many people in my life that said, get your heads out of the clouds. And one of the things that I realized is that you have to be able to have a clear picture of your future self and who you want to become and the things that you want to do, to then be able to create the steps that get you there. And the reality is that for all of us, life happens. There's so many things that we don't plan upon. But the reality is that if we don't have a clear picture of where we want to go, and we allow life to sort of distract us and never go back to revisit that picture, then it becomes farther and farther away. It doesn't mean that you can't achieve it. It doesn't mean that you can't go back. It doesn't mean that you can't really recapture it. But the really key thing is to be aware of who you want to be and continue to every day work toward that. And if you get sidetracked, it's okay. Your brain is going to be like, oh my God, danger, danger. But then you have to come back and say, okay, danger, danger. But what are the things that I was working toward? And that's very important.
What do you say to someone who says, well, it's not responsible to dream what I'm dreaming. It's not responsible to give up my corporate job and become a hairstylist, which I find really interesting. What would you say to that person?
Well, my belief is that we get one life to live, right? And that a lot of people believe that maybe, it's better to do something in one specific field. But if you are not happy and you are going to a job and you are miserable, then you are bringing in that atmosphere with you. And the people that are around you are also just being affected by that. And really, in every day and everything that we do, you have to be able to remind yourself that if you are empty and if you're feeling down, if you're feeling unfulfilled, then you are not going to be able to show up as the best version of yourself. And it's important to show up as the best version of yourself, because if you are happy, then it really radiates to the people around you as well.
That is true. And there are people that are not happy and they don't know how to get happy. I'd like to discuss with you a few tips that I have come to know on how to do that. And I actually did a solo podcast on it called The Benefits of Keeping a Gratitude List.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Yes. Well, those are one of the steps to being happy, because if your life is a mess and your reality, what you're living and seeing and hearing and all the tangible evidence is telling you, yeah, this is a terrible life. You cannot become happy just like that when you kind of are in that vibration. So you have to find a way to pivot yourself. And it doesn't happen all at once. It's really hard to go from despair and frustration to joy. You kind of have to work your way up the emotional scale. I find keeping a gratitude list is one way to really focus on the good things that happen in your life. And there are a lot. We just take it for granted. What do you think about that, Julie?
There's so much that I could go in this direction. So I'm going to use a little example about gratitude and then really stepping up your thoughts. There's a concept that my coach taught me and my mentor taught me, and it's called ladder thoughts. You cannot go from feeling terrible and bad about something to 180 degree and say, oh, I'm going to be happy and grateful. And then all of a sudden I'm feeling great, right? And turn on your thoughts like a dime. You have to sort of climb the ladder from bad thought, terrible thought, to not so bad thought, to maybe a neutral thought, to maybe a better thought, to the best thought. And that's very important. And that's a little bit of what the gratitude does for you. I will give you an example with my own personal today. I was practicing yoga and I have fallen a little bit behind in my yoga practice. And I said, no, I need to really go back and do this for myself. And as I was doing yoga, there's certain things that I really struggled in my practice today. And at first, I'm like, oh, forget it. This is too hard. I'm not doing it today. Why am I doing this very hard yoga class? And immediately my brain wanted to say, no, done. Let's go do something else because this is hard. And I said, you know what? No, this is a yoga practice. I'm practicing and getting better. And I haven't done it in a while. And for this, I need to really just stick with it and do the best I can. And the thing is that if I continue to do and to practice my yoga for a week, my future self in a week is going to be much better off than the person that sat on the couch and decided to give in to the thoughts of like, oh, this is too hard. And our brain is wired to look for that pleasure, for that safety. But it's when we choose to do the things that are hard, even if we're not going to succeed, then we actually get closer to shifting, to leveling up from where we are.
And it doesn't have to be the best practice in the world. The fact that you just slowly went through it is
That's
good.
right.
You're building some momentum.
Absolutely. When I went through yoga teacher training and my certification, I had a lot of doubts because although being a yoga teacher is something that I said, oh, someday I'd like to do that. Wouldn't that be nice? And really the thing was that throughout my training, I got better and better and better, but I would have never gotten there had I not taken the leap.
And you would have never gotten there if you hadn't had a dream that
Mm-hmm.
you just kind of threw out there. One day, I would like to be a yoga teacher. That would be fun. I saw
That's
on your
right.
website that you have a lot of goals that you've accomplished, and I love the way you write it out. Once upon a time, I dreamed about this happening, and now
Mm-hmm.
on this date, it happened.
Yes, I think that we have this desire in us to be and to do, and we sometimes allow that inner critic to get in the way and to tell us we're not good enough or we don't measure up. And if we give in to listening to that inner critic, then we miss out on a lot of really good opportunities. I think that, for instance, on the website, I had the Camino de Santiago, how I've walked the Camino de Santiago. And if I waited for the right time, for instance, that's a 30 to 40 day walk, a pilgrimage, but I didn't have the 30 to 40 days. So I broke it up into segments. And you have to also be willing to adjust the dream, adjust, and maybe you pictured it in one way, and I would have liked to have had a month and a half to walk around Spain, but I didn't have it. I had 2 weeks at a time. So that's very important, to really be willing to accept that perhaps there's an adjustment to what your dream is going to look like, but you can still go after it.
When in your coaching practice, how do you help people that say, well, I don't see how it could possibly be done? How do you break that down for them?
Well, one of the biggest things that I really don't love the phrase, but it really comes down to you eat an elephant one step at a time or one bite at a time. You have to really be able to break it down into smaller, manageable steps. So, for instance, I have a goal of climbing Kilimanjaro someday, but if you were to tell me, hey, let's go to Kilimanjaro today and go, I would be like, oh my gosh, that's so overwhelming. So one of the biggest things that you need to be able to do is break down any big task that you have, whether it be going back to school, getting a law degree, or you're looking to start a podcast. What is the one thing that you can do? And the other thing is not about completing something and having that perfectionist, because sometimes when we're looking to do something perfectly, we are that is the enemy of getting something done. In that perfectionist tendency, and I've had it. I'm still a perfectionist, and I have to tell myself, just get it done and break it down into smaller, manageable steps. And that's one of the things that I work with my clients, is identifying, yes, where do you want to be? What is your big purpose? What is your big dream? And then coming up with the manageable steps, and then creating attainable goals that are smaller and that stack up to the larger ones.
You've heard the expression life
Mm-hmm.
is a buffet. So imagine you're actually at a buffet and there are all these amazing foods
Mm-hmm.
for you to choose from. I mean, you're not going to pick everything and eat it all at once. And it wouldn't
Absolutely.
be fun if you said, okay, I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro and you did it tomorrow, Julie. Would it be fun? Because now it's over.
Yeah. And I think that people, to refer back to my pilgrimage in Spain, people look at, oh, I'm going to go on this great pilgrimage. It's going to be a great trip, and getting into your destination. Every night you're trying to get into whatever town you want to get to for the evening, and you're just intent on getting there. The biggest, most rewarding part of the trip is actually the journey itself, is not the destination. And I know that for myself, the biggest lessons, the most valuable lessons, the most rewarding lessons have come from the individual steps in the journey. and really being aware of where we are. If you are thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get there and that's the only thing that I'm going to do, you miss all the little things along the way. You miss the people that you can connect with. You miss the beautiful sunrise. You miss the gentle breeze. Or if you're in a city, you're missing all the neighborhoods throughout the way.
And you don't really savor the journey, because it's the savoring of the journey that really allows you to appreciate the accomplishment.
Absolutely. And the journey is the one that teaches you. I know that the journey of where I've been and not the accomplishment is what has made a difference for myself.
Now, you say that you help people define what they want. What if someone says, I don't know what I want. I just know it's got to be not here, wherever it is they are. What do you say to that?
Well, one of the first things that are important to really sift through is identify what where you've been. What are your values? And I've heard the expression, and often I've heard this in referring to children. You have to give children roots and wings. And in order to be able to really define where you're going to go, you have to also understand it is who you are. Where do you come from? What are the values? What are the things that maybe you were taught that you want to incorporate into your life? And what are the things that maybe you grew up with, but they're not part of what you want to adopt for yourself? So it's important to really be able to analyze where you are, where you came from, and be clear. Looking at the past is a teacher. It is not a fortune teller. Many people spend so much time looking at where they've been and all the things they've been through that they are not able to see where they're going. And it prevents them from seeing that.
I'd like to offer this little thing that I've come up with is when you don't know exactly where you want to be or where you want to go, you oftentimes, most of the time, know how you want to feel about it. Let's say your job. I'm in this job that I don't like and I don't know where I want to go, but I want to have a different job. Well, how do you want to feel in that job? Well, I want to feel excited. I want to feel respected. I want to feel, and you start with the feeling place of it until it feels good and you can visualize, you are imagining what that feels like so that you are open to those possibilities.
Right, absolutely. I have clients, for instance, that are maybe in a career that they really struggle with. And they thought, hey, I chose this. This is what I wanted to do. But it is not something that I feel valued at or I feel respected at. So really being able to identify again, okay, you want to feel valued. You want to feel respected. What do you do that you like to do? And where can you take those skills? And what are some of the things that you can, maybe it's not necessarily changing your career right away, but it's maybe there's an organization where the things that you love to do, you can give to. There's organizations that would love someone to come and write a newsletter, or there's someone that maybe is looking for someone to teach or someone to just advise them. If you have some sort of knowledge, give to somebody else and feel yourself really be in your genius zone. And I think that all of us have a genius zone, and there's a sweet spot that we all have where we're really good at something. And if you haven't figured it out, try different things.
Yes. And giving back, doing something for free, sharing your genius. If you don't feel valued, you're going to feel valued. You're going to feel appreciated. What a great feeling. And then you're going to come to expect it.
Absolutely. And that's a gift. It's a gift to you. And when you feel valued, when you feel joy, then you can't help but to give it back. And today I lead a mindfulness group in the morning. We wake up at 6:15 and we do a little mindful meditation. And one of the things that we talked about today is a meditation on loving kindness. And sometimes we don't feel a lot of loving kindness for the people around us. But my question is, did you feel loving kindness for yourself?
Yes. When you feel love and kindness for yourself, it just automatically flows over into others, even if, I don't know, maybe they haven't really deserved it. you can't
Right.
help but love them.
It only benefits you. Absolutely. There's a great video about loving kindness, and it's about this guy who is a construction worker, and he helps a little kid that falls off his skateboard and picks him up. And then the little boy does something for somebody else down the street, and that's somebody else. And it's sort of like a whole ripple effect, pay it forward. And then it comes back to the construction worker at the very end. But that's really the concept. The guy was putting out positive energy to a total stranger, but it came back to him. But he also felt good doing something for somebody else.
The byproduct is we end up feeling good. And then you're like, what else can I do for other people? Because it feels so good to love and share and help. And that's how the world gets better.
That's how we get better, for sure.
So tell me more about your mindfulness group. What does mindfulness mean? And what do you do in this mindful meditation?
Okay, I love this question. For many years, I thought this whole peaceful meditation, mindfulness was not for me because I was not born to be some sort of monk that can empty their mind and be Zen, right? Or sit still for that matter. One of the things that I soon learned is that, again, I go back to this word, it's about practice. But the mindfulness is being aware of the present moment. One of the things that I teach in mindfulness is being able to just be aware of what you're thinking. It's sort of like watching your thoughts, and there's two ways in which you can watch your thoughts. Some of us have these rapid fire thoughts, and they're kind of like a waterfall. And mindfulness is sort of standing behind the waterfall in the little cave where it's cold and you're sort of getting splattered a little bit, but watching those thoughts come rapidly. Or when you're sitting still and and maybe you're just focusing on your breath and really anchoring yourself to your breath and paying attention. What does it feel like for that breath to come into your nose? How does it expand into your chest? What is it, cold breath? Is it warm? What am I feeling? Or do I feel where I'm sitting right now? And being aware of that moment. And for us, and for many years, I think that I ran away from being still because I was afraid of what I was going to see. But the reality is that it's not about judging what we see. It's about being curious and thinking, I'm thinking this about myself, or I'm thinking this about the world. Interesting. Why am I thinking that? That's mindfulness. So I started this group for purely, really selfish reasons. I wanted to really continue to build my practice for myself personally, because I know that I show up better when I spend a couple of minutes just connecting, being quiet, being in the moment, not starting my day, picking up my phone and going into social media immediately, not starting my day with, okay, let me watch the news and see what's going on in the world, but really sitting in the moment and being aware that, okay, I'm alive. I'm grateful. And before I jump into maybe my journals or maybe the reading for the day, just being in that present moment. And I wanted accountability. So I put it out there to a group of women and I said, hey, I'm going to rekindle my practice and I want some accountability. Anybody want to join? I'll run a mindfulness and I'll walk you through what it is. And this is how we've started. And it's been really fun.
One of the other benefits of meditation, mindfulness, if you do it as soon as you wake up, before you open your emails or look on social media or talk to anybody, it really sets the trajectory of your day.
I think that also with mindfulness, and again, if you want to get a little more technical about it, there's so many benefits for your health. My brain is the one that controls my whole entire body. So if my brain is not at peace, connected, and it doesn't mean that just because you're practicing and you're trying to just be still at the beginning, that you have your problems go away. But what it does happen is that you're in a better frame of mind to handle your day, no matter what comes your way.
I want to add one more thing there, is that yes, the brain does control the body, but the thoughts control the brain. So
That's right.
It has a ripple effect on your physical health as well.
Oh, for sure. And I know that when I am in a better frame of mind physically, I feel better. And our thoughts are going to guide how we feel. And how you are feeling is a direct correlation of what you're thinking.
When you realize that, you really do feel empowered. So you can now, with that knowledge and with that practice of mindfulness, go in the direction of your dream.
That's right.
And make that dream a reality, because your current reality is old news. All it is the sum of what you've done in the past. That's all. So if you have a new dream, now it begins heading towards the new one.
That's right.
And that is
Absolutely.
fun.
I love that. And I think that we always have the power to go home. We're like Dorothy. We just have to, one, know that we have the power, and two, use them. And with our thoughts, if you think that it's going to be a terrible day, you're right. Your brain is immediately going to start looking at all the different things. Oh, there's traffic, there's this. But if you think, you know what? The sun is shining. I am alive. I have another opportunity to try my best today. And maybe my intention is to be joyful. Then when you get in the car, there might be traffic, but let me turn on the radio and jam to my favorite song, or let me call someone I love. So all these things are interconnected, but it's how you choose to look at it.
Absolutely. Your thoughts do create what happens to you. You know, that expression, when it rains, it pours. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and then things just keep getting worse. But it goes on the opposite side too. You intend to look good, feel good, and you notice all the good. And then pretty soon, that's all you see.
That's right. Your brain is matching. Your brain is trying to, if you say, hey, I never saw an orange car before, your brain all of a sudden is going to be like looking for orange cars and find them everywhere.
It's a really fun exercise to do, just to prove to yourself that you can visualize and bring things into your reality. It's a fun little game. When I first started practicing this, look for a car, pick a color, and then go out and look for that color. Weeks after this exercise was over, I still saw green cars everywhere I went.
When I started practicing this mindfulness, and I started to really evaluate and look at what my brain was capable of visualizing, I lived in New York City, and unlike a lot of people, I did have a car that I would move and I would drive, and I would come back and have to park in the evening. And many times I would be driving around, I was like, oh, I can't find a spot. There's no spots. There's nowhere to park. And I was focusing on all the negative things about not having a parking spot, until I shifted my brain and I said, all it takes is one spot. And I would drive around and I would say, all it takes is one spot. And sure enough, my brain started to find the spot, because I was looking at the possibilities. I was looking at what can happen, not at what wasn't there. And it made the experience a whole lot better. Again, the journey itself was more pleasant. It's all how you look at it.
Julie, this has been such a fun conversation. I love it. You have a 21-day Peaceful You course.
I do, and it's been such a fun thing to do. So again, the women who I've been doing the mindfulness program with, they really wanted to learn more, and I'm a teacher at heart, so what I decided to do is teach them 21 different days and walk them through the practice of meditation, from introductory to what it is, how to be able to anchor to the breath, how to be able to breathe, and then we talk about mindful listening, because that is a part of mindfulness. Maybe you're going about your day, mindful walking. Maybe you're walking from here to the grocery store. You're walking to your car. Just being aware, what does it feel like to put your foot in the ground? Or the senses. We have 5 senses that we take for granted every single day. What do your eyes see? What are your ears? So every single day is a different skill in mindfulness, and really it's designed to be able to, at the end of the 21 days, help you understand some of the basic concepts of mindfulness and how to be able to set up a practice. I also have a journal, an ebook that goes along with it, that has not only a place where they can take notes, but they can also maybe journal in some of the experiences. What was it like to sit and be able to just look around, and what did you see and what did you experience? Or maybe mindful eating is another big thing. Sometimes we're so distracted, we're scrolling our phones or we're watching television, and we're not really paying attention to how we eat. And mindful eating is a very great, it's a good skill to have as well. So this is something that you can continue to practice and grow and learn how to do it yourself, because as a teacher is I do, we do, then you do. And that's the way to learn.
How can we find this Peaceful You course?
You can download the Peaceful You ebook on my website, which is goconfidentlycoaching.com. It's under resources. And then you will get the daily email that tells you what the topic is. And the actual lessons are on my podcast, which is Casa de Confidence. And they're clearly marked Peaceful You episode 1 through 21. So this course is free for anyone who wants it, and it's on the website, and it's really designed to be able to help you start a practice and change your life and change your outlook and incorporate this practice that I guarantee you will make you stronger and more peaceful.
I love that. Everybody, it's free. Go and do it.
Free.
Why wouldn't you? It can only help you. How can we find you, Julie?
Well, you can find me on the socials, Julie Delucca Collins. Casa de Confidence is the podcast, and you can also look for that on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, and I will soon have a book out.
This was such valuable information. It was such a fun conversation. I loved it, Julie. I love you.
Oh, I love you too, Laura. I'm so glad we found each other. You are so insightful and wise, and I love really what you're doing, because when I was 20, I wish I had you, honestly. You would have taught me so much. And who knows, maybe I could have already climbed Kilimanjaro.
I have no doubt you're going to be doing that in the next 5 years. Julie, thanks very much for your time, your
Thank you so much.
your knowledge, and your love.
Oh, my pleasure. And keep shining. And everybody, remember, go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you have imagined. You can do it. You just have to sit down, imagine it, and then put simple habits together that will get you there.
Thank you very much, Julie.
You're welcome.
If you're a dreamer, keep doing it. If you've never allowed yourself to dream, then start doing it. What do you think about the mindfulness course? 21 days is a really good start to creating some new habits. We can all be more mindful. It can only help us and make us better. The links for this show, to Julie's website, the Peaceful You course, her podcast, can all be found at howtolife.com/027. How to Life is a brand dedicated to helping take the fear out of adulting. Whether it's how to do basic life skills or how to emotionally deal with situations you may encounter, it is my goal to help you out and to cheer you on. Check out my YouTube channel, How to Life, to watch short video tutorials that I call Mominars. These little video tutorials are very short, and they are on specific subjects like how to iron a shirt, how to turn on a gas stove, why is my washing machine making this loud banging noise, how to pump gas using your debit or credit card. I post a new Mominar every week or so. And of course, every week, this podcast features a variety of guests offering instruction, insight, and inspiration to help you maneuver through adulthood more easily. Please consider subscribing to both. There are links on my website to do so at howtolife.com. Or just hit the subscribe button on your podcast platform before signing off today. Thank you for listening in again, and a big thank you for all the 5-star ratings that have been left and some really wonderful reviews. Those make my day, they make my week, they keep me inspired to keep putting out great content for you, and it is really helping How to Life get noticed. I appreciate all of you so much. I am looking forward to next time. Until then, have an amazing week. Slow down a bit and refocus. Practice a little mindfulness. Make little corrections to get you moving towards your big dreams. Have fun and don't stress about anything. All is well. You got this.